Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Come here, you, and welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. I'm so excited to do this show. First of all, congratulations for Batman for finally getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Really proud of you, Bats. You deserve it because you're awesome and you're better than any Marvel character. But of course, all DC characters are far superior. We don't need a debate on that. Commiserations to DC Vertigo, which is shutting down, but will be merging with proper DC. So all those characters will be mixing with other DC characters. So as sad as it is, and I've been retweeting on Twitter, all these DC Vertigo creatives, talking about it. It's very interesting because I don't know a great deal about DC Vertigo. So that's very sad as well. But we've got a lot of articles to get through today. A little bit later, we'll also be talking about Ezra Miller, according to Variety, will be playing the Flash in a Flash movie. But first, he will do his scenes for Fantastic Beasts 3. If that's the case, of course, that would mean that the filming will be delayed again because they were supposed to start in November. But I don't think that Fantastic Beasts starts filming, I think, till next year. I don't know. But whenever they do The Flash, they've really thought hard about this. They haven't rushed into that. And if I can find that article, we'll read it out a little bit later. But first of all, we've got some Snyder Cut news, which is really exciting. No, it's not an announcement of the Snyder Cut being released, unfortunately, but comicbook.com, who have quite a few interesting articles this morning, have got this. Green Lantern's ship appears in cut Justice League movie scene, according to Zack Snyder, and he would know, as he's the guy who wrote and directed the superior version of the film. Director Zack Snyder continues to reveal what could have been by doing... Let's start again. Director Zack Snyder continues to reveal what could have been by doing out storyboards and details from his version of the Justice League movie. One that ended up being spliced, reshot and edited by Warner Brothers after Joss Whedon took over the project. We've seen plenty to make us long for the Snyder Cut, and this latest revelation will only heighten that longing. Snyder recently revealed a photo of a deleted scene from Justice League featuring Cyborg, seeing an image of himself as a fully human once more and reunited with his family. But it's what is behind him in the background that caught one fan's interest. Now, I didn't notice this, and if I've still got the screenshot, I'm going to have to, delve into this a bit more. Behind the family, you can see an oddly shaped object, and one fan asked Snyder if that was Apocalyptian, a ship, in the background. Snyder only used one word as his answer, but it left an impact when he said, Green Lantern. That is Green Lantern's ship. Wow, that's awesome. Yep, it appears that the ship in the background was meant to be a Green Lantern ship. A ship we've seen used by Abrams Superman and Hal Jordan at various times in the past. Green Lanterns typically use their rings to fly, but occasionally they use ships, either because something is wrong with their powers or when they want to keep a low profile. Now, yeah, we've got it here, but I could barely see it. I could barely see it there. In Abrams Superman's case, it was due to Parallax's meddling with his mind and making him fearful. We aren't sure if the ship was actually Sir of Jordan's, of course, but it's still another nod to the Lanterns in Justice League, which would have been appreciated by fans. Yeah, not half. As it stands, the only two references to them in the film are during the great battle between those on Earth and Steppenwolf's forces, where you can see two different Lanterns fighting it out with other gods. Atlanteans and Amazons. Steppenwolf also references them at one point when he picks Earth to claim once more, but this would have been another nice nod. There was originally a post-credit sequence scene in Justice League that featured Lanterns, Kilowog and Tom Ray. Oh my God, how can you cut that out? Talking to Batman, though, that was cut early in post-production. There is a Green Lantern Corps script being worked on right now by Jeff Johns, so hopefully we'll learn more about the Green Lantern project soon, and I can't wait. That's going to be an awesome film. Whatever you think of Geoff Johns, the guy is a storytelling genius. Yes, comicbook.com are doing really well for me this morning. There's some really exciting DCEU stuff. James Wan reveals Aquaman Trench spin-off movie details. So let's give this a read. Now, this is really exciting. Now, I know what this says, but I want to read it out to you. Let's read it out together, and let's react to it together. After Aquaman's billion-dollar breakthrough, DC, WB, and fans are eager to return to the underwater side of the DC movie universe. Thing is, director James Wan also has a slightly different take on the Aquaman mythos, coming as well in the form of The Trench, a spin-off film that will focus on the scene stealers from the original film. Not much is known about the film, including who will return for it or a release date, though comicbook.com had the chance to sit down with the director to chat about his latest film, Annabelle Comes Home. And during that discussion, we had to ask for some details regarding The Trench. We're still deep in sort of crafting the script, crafting the story right now, so I don't want to get into that too much, but definitely it's one that I really want to lean into the horror of it. So it's going to play more as a monster horror movie than it will as a superhero film. But it's still definitely part of the Aquaman world, One said. Look, this is what we want. We want a diverse bunch of films. We don't want to be Marvelized. Look, I love Shazam. And what I love about Shazam, it out-Marvelized Marvel. It is probably better than, 90% of the Marvel films because the representation, the equality, but the entertainment and the heart of the film, it was everything you need, and the film just doesn't trigger you. It does everything in the right way. That horror-focused angle makes a great deal of sense, as all sequences involving the Trench in the film also stood out of their fantastic tension and spine-tingling imagery, including that phenomenal shot of the hold surrounding Aquaman and Mera's lone flare, with an entire movie to introduce those sorts of creepy sequences, and hopefully it won't be too much longer before we get more concrete information. As for Aquaman, the film is on home video now, and you can find the visual description below. Yeah, I love James Wan. I think with Aquaman, as I said a million times, him and Walter Hamada really turned that film around. Now, we know James was always involved, but his directions were from other people, Geoff Johns, other people. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Geoff Johns and Zack Snyder had a great idea for Aquaman. We were going to see Batman in this film. It was going to be more of a sense of the connectivity of the DCEU, and that would have been fun. But this is a great standalone movie in its own right, and I absolutely enjoyed seeing it. Yes, we've got another great article here, and this time it's about J.J. Abrams' cancelled Superman movie. It was called Superman Flyby. The storyboards have been revealed, so let's have a look. Once upon a time, a young J.J. Abrams had penned a script for Warner Brothers under the working title of Superman Flyby. In a team before properties like Mission Impossible 3 or Lost ended up changing his career, Warner Brothers ultimately decided to pass on the project, which was first handed in as early as July 2002. Fast forward nearly 20 years later, and the shelved film is back in the limelight thanks to newly serviced storyboards from the development phase. Shared by, at the time, storyboard artist Pete Ramsey, who was one of the 3 directors on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the artwork shows just about what you'd expect from a Superman film. Kal-El zooming around cities and the world. Pete Ramsey tweets, some storyboards from a version of Superman written by J.J. Abrams, way back in the day, never made, but I had fun. Yeah, do you know what? That's a big regret of mine that wasn't made. In a weird twist of fate, Abrams' production company Bad Robot is reportedly closing in on a massive deal with Warner Brothers, which has led to speculate that the fan-favourite filmmaker could end up being an architect of the studio's fledgling DC Extended Universe. On this week's Fat Man Beyond podcast with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardine, the latter pointed out Abrams' impending deal. Suddenly you have J.J. Abrams, the founder of remaking IP, of overseeing massive universes of characters, and Warner Brothers, who currently has nobody overseeing the DC universe. They do. Walter Hamada, Pete Safran. Don't be disrespectful, guys. DC universe. That is just conjecture, but it would not surprise me one whit if it was like, hey man, you know who's awesome at doing his thing? That guy, what we have that needs doing. Those guys, Bernardin said, and he'd be fantastic. Look, I have no question about, listen, I think a lot of people would be nervous about J.J. Abrams and his creative mates running the DCEU. But look, there's things he's done. You could say, well, maybe that wasn't so great, but there's also things. And I think if he just forgets the corporate aspect of his career and it focuses on the DCEU, he could absolutely do something really special. Do I think they're going to throw Walter Hamada and Peter Safran out to pasture? No. So he would be more like someone who could cherry pick what he wanted to do rather than running the whole universe. That's my opinion anyway. Yes, that's another great article by comicbook.com. And, you know, as I say, J.J. Abrams is one of those divisive figures in the industry right now. Some people love him. I love him for the good stuff that he's done. I'm dubious about the stuff that maybe he could have done better, but I do trust him, and I would be absolutely excited if he went and did a Superman movie, because we need a Superman movie, and who better to shine light and make Superman relatable again in terms of live action. Well, this is very interesting. Again from comicbook.com. Kevin Smith knows who the villain is in the new Suicide Squad sequel, describes as phenomenal. Let's give this a read, right? After the first Suicide Squad movie released in theatres to critical and audience condemnation, no, the critics hated it, but a lot of the fans loved it. It's not DCEU fans' top movie, but I think it did what it needed to do. Could it have been better? Could they have done something different? Yes, but it's still a fine movie. And it was, I've spoken about this a billion times. They could have bled through the Suicide Squad characters through origin movies, through a Batman origin movie, and then crossed the Justice League and the Suicide Squad over to face maybe the Injustice League. I said they could have done things better, but it's not a bad film. Right. Fans excited for any potential plans for a sequel, and then Guardians of the Galaxy filmmaker James Gunn came on board and changed everything, with Idris Elba joining familiar faces like Viola Davis, Margot Robbie. Gunn has re-energized DC Comics fans who are excited to see his take on the government hit squad. By the way, I would have been excited for a Suicide Squad sequel anyway. We still don't know much about this movie, but now Kevin Smith is teasing fans with key piece of information. He knows who the villain is, and he thinks it will blow fans away. Speaking on his Fat Man Beyond podcast, Smith hinted at what fans can expect. Does anybody know who the villain is for the Suicide Squad? Smith asked the audience, but no one had an answer. All right, I do, and I just can't say it then, because I thought everybody knew, and I was about to say, I might have heard that privately. Oh, Kevin, you should have told us. I'm not going to spell it, but if it's what I heard, it's fucking phenomenal, Smith added. And boy, is it in the right hands with James Gunn. I'd agree with that. Smith went on to remember that David Dastmalchian, the actor cast as Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, was likely the person who told him and warned him not to tell anyone. So Smith is keeping that a secret until an official announcement is made or the word leaks out. Smith is known for being easily excitable, but he's also a die-hard nerd with a fondness for the source material. If he's excited about the latest villain to appear in the DC Comics cinematic universe, it's a safe bet that it's probably going to get a lot of people riled up. Gunn has been tight-lipped about his new project. Actually, if you follow him on Instagram, he does let you see a few tidbits. He's a big fan, by the way, of Suicide Squad, which is great, the comics. Though he did reference his favourite run of comics that might indicate what fans can expect from his take on the franchise. I have been an enormous fan of Suicide Squad in all its DC Comics incarnations, but to me, there will always be something special about the John Ostrander run, Gunn wrote on Twitter. Black Ops military tales with disposable, often forgotten supervillains. Pure perfection. We'll see if the villain lives up to Kevin Smith's hype. Well, I love Kevin, but he does like to prop up studios and creators. But, you know, I'm excited about this movie, and I can't wait to find out who this villain is. Look, you know, like Doomsday was killed, right? He was just killed. He falls over. What happened to Doomsday? What did they do with Doomsday? That's actually one thing we don't know. And would the Snyder Cut explain that? What if Doomsday was revived and he was the villain of the Suicide Squad? Now, how awesome would that be? Yeah, let's delve into this Ezra Miller rumour that he would, in fact, play the Flash in the Flash movie. Now, this is basically, I don't even know where this is from. I screenshot this because I can't find the article. Miller, who plays the ultra-swift superhero The Flash, will get his DC Universe as a standalone film as soon as he wraps up his work on the Harry Potter spin-off series Fantastic Beasts. So, I'm assuming that's Fantastic Beasts 3. The star is somehow even more in demand on the red carpet than in the studio casting sessions, with his avant-garde looks earning praise and astonishment from fans. Yeah, I mean, I saw this morning and I got a bit excited. I don't know where this is from or if this is true. I think this could be bullshit, actually, so we don't know. I thought it was a proper article. I do apologise, but let's talk about this anyway, right? I'm starting to believe that he will play the Flash. Nothing's come out. It could even be that the November... Because I'm actually ignoring that now. So let's just talk from ourselves on what I've heard. It could be... Where are we now? We're nearly in July. It is quite probable still that the start date for the Flash movie is November. But we don't know. Are they still using the Game Night writer-directors? Are they using Grant Morrison's and Ezra Miller's script? That's what we don't know. If even that Ezra Miller kind of... Grant Morrison story was ever true. We don't know anything because no one tells us anything. That's the movie industry. So we have to go to sources, we have to read articles and say, nah, that's crap. Oh, that sounds probable. And I think, I do believe at this moment in time that, yeah, Ezra Miller is so important to Warner Brothers. They wouldn't bin him. You know, I think he's a great Flash. He really made me laugh in Justice League. I know that's not the type of Flash character that most people want. I understand that. And I think they will fix everything that you didn't like about him in Justice League in the movie. I want his and Grant Morrison's script, if it's real, to happen. I mean, it's really happening now. We've got Ava DuVernay and another comic book writer writing New Gods. So it looks like, I think Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema and Walter Hamada and Pete Safran are looking to be a bit more faithful to the comics. And I think with the reactions to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, that would be a good thing. You know I love BVS, you know I love MOS, but I also want, you know, everyone to get what they want here rather than one section of fans, right? As Snyder fans, we'd like to continue what's happened, right? What was started. But also, I see it from the other fans' point of view. So I want everyone to be happy. And I can't see why, you know, they can't make, as I say, different movies. You know, at the end of the day, I am sick to death of the MCU. I'm sick to death of being told how superior they are to the DCEU. The MCU is just a bunch of generic, forgettable films. And they will not be talking about them in 20 or 30 years' time. They'll be talking about BVS, MOS and Wonder Woman and other stuff that we're going to see in the future. What James Wan is doing is great. So I'm very excited. You can keep on... Listen, one last thing before I go. Anyone who throws the Martha moment in your face, right, DCEU fans, just put a gift up of Professor Hulk. Because no one who's defending Professor Hulk can come at you with the Martha scene. The Martha scene was awesome. The Martha scene was emotional. And if you don't get that, go and watch a generic MCU movie and just shut the hell up. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with more videos.